She didn't look like money. That was her only crime. In a place where a designer label could open doors, her linen dress closed them all. The sun poured down on Beverly Hills like liquid gold, shimmering against the windows of Lumiere Prive, the most exclusive jewelry boutique on Rodeo Drive. Inside, velvet-lined cases sparkled under crystal chandeliers, cradling gems so rare they were guarded like state secrets. Celebrities shopped here. Royals placed orders months in advance. Billionaires sent assistants with briefcases of cash. And today, a woman in flat sandals walked through the door alone. Isla Bennett, 36, had the kind of beauty that didn't beg for attention. Her hair, a rich chestnut, was pulled into a low bun. Her pale gray eyes were striking, unadorned by mascara or shadow. Her only accessory was a soft linen dress, cream-colored and clean. No makeup, no jewelry, no designer bag. Just a canvas tote with a notebook, a pen, and a creased photo of her laughing on her wedding day. She moved with quiet poise, the kind that didn't scream, but whispered dignity. To the boutique staff, she might as well have been invisible. From behind a curved glass counter, Juliette Vaughn, a sales associate in a tight black shift dress and perfect red lipstick, narrowed her eyes. Her gaze slid from Isla's sandals to her bare fingers. No rings, no bangles, no Rolex. Just skin. Watch her, Juliette hissed to her colleague, a wiry man with slicked back hair named Derek Ames, who was wiping down a tray of rings. That type doesn't buy. That type steals. Derek chuckled softly, his eyes following Isla as she approached the main display in the center of the boutique, a raised pedestal under a crystal dome, spotlighted like a crown jewel. Nestled on a velvet cushion was the Celeste, a rare pink diamond necklace surrounded by flawless white stones, its value whispered to be just over $12 million. Isla paused before it, her gaze softening. She had read about this piece, its clarity, the unusual blush hue, the elegance of its cut. She didn't come to window shop. She came for something more. A gift. A celebration. A symbol. Today marked 10 years since she married Noah Bennett, the quiet genius behind a global tech empire. The world knew his name, but few recognized his face. He valued privacy, and so did she. Their fortune was vast, their homes few, their hearts full. Isla had chosen to live modestly, her life now dedicated to philanthropy and empowering young women. But this necklace, this was something she wanted to give him. A reminder of everything they'd built together, and everything they'd overcome. Can I help you? Juliette asked, her words wrapped in sarcasm, like a silk scarf pulled too tight. Yes, Isla replied with a warm, composed smile. I'd like to see the pink diamond necklace. Juliette blinked, as if Isla had just asked to try on the crown jewels. Her lips twisted. That piece is for serious clients only, she said, voice sharp enough to cut glass. It's not something we show to everyone. Isla nodded gently. I understand. I'd still like to see it. I can afford it. Derek let out a quiet snort, loud enough to draw attention. From a corner, a platinum blonde woman in a fur-trimmed shawl glanced up from her champagne flute. Miranda Lowe, heiress, influencer, self-proclaimed luxury queen. She leaned toward her companion, a chiseled man in a double-breasted navy suit. She thinks this is a thrift store, she whispered, just loud enough Isla heard them. She didn't flinch. Juliette leaned closer over the glass, her tone theatrical. Do you know how much it costs? Or are you just here for the air conditioning? Laughter rippled from the nearby clients. A man whispered, no appointment. Bold. Another woman took out her phone and snapped a photo of Isla from behind. Within seconds, it was uploaded to a private group chat called Prive Royal Circle. The caption read, Farmer's Market Chic, LOL. Miranda was now openly mocking her. Those shoes? Are they even leather? She tapped her stiletto on the marble floor and rolled her eyes. I swear, they let anyone walk in these days. Juliette crossed her arms, smug. I'm going to have to ask you to step away from the case. This is for real customers. Isla's hand rested on the strap of her tote. Her posture didn't change. Her smile didn't waver. But her eyes held a storm. I just wanted to see it, she said softly. That's all. The room grew colder. Check her bag, Miranda's voice rang out, laced with cruel delight. She's probably filming for one of those social pranks. Homeless girl enters diamond store. Another photo. Another laugh. Another cut, then came the coin. It landed near Isla's sandal with a hollow clink. Miranda smirked. For your bus fare, darling. Juliette didn't stop it. Derek didn't object. No one stepped in. The cruelty was a currency freely spent. A soft murmur from the entrance. Lumiere's security guard, a thick-set man named Reggie, had stepped forward, suspicion on his face. Ma'am, I need to check your tote, he said, his voice designed to be overheard. Isla looked up at him and, without a word, slowly unzipped her bag. She held it open. Inside, a notebook. A pen. A photo. Reggie's face didn't change. Keep it where I can see it. Phones emerged again. Whispers bloomed. Juliet turned to Derek, muttering, classic distraction tactic. She's probably trying to lift something from the display. Isla stood in silence, her back straight, the heat rising to her face, her dignity a fortress even. Now, the video clip would hit Instagram within minutes, caption thrift store thief? It would get 10,000 views in an hour. Then 50,000. But Isla didn't know that yet, she only knew that the necklace she had hoped to touch, to admire, to gift and love, had instead become a mirror reflecting everything wrong with this world, and as she turned away from the glittering case, the weight of their laughter pressing on her spine, her phone buzzed softly in her tote. She picked it up. Noah, she said calmly, her voice barely above a whisper, you can come now. Outside, the sun still bathed Beverly Hills in cinematic gold, but inside Lumiere Prive, the air had curdled. Every whisper, every giggle, every sideways glance became a needle against Isla Bennett's composure. She had taken a few steps toward a smaller display, hoping to browse quietly while she waited for Noah. Her shoulders were square, her chin high. But the boutique wasn't finished with her yet. Behind her, Juliet leaned over to Derek and sneered. Still lurking? Maybe she's waiting for a discount bin to open up. Maybe she thinks the necklace is on layaway, Derek muttered, straightening a tray of emerald earrings. A moment later, the boutique's head of security, Reggie, returned. His radio buzzed as he intercepted Isla near a mirrored wall. Ma'am, he said, his tone firm and cold, I'll need you to step away from the displays. Isla turned slowly. I'm not near the glass, she said gently. Reggie didn't budge. We've had reports of suspicious behavior. Someone laughed, one of the influencers seated near the champagne cart. Miranda Lowe again. She's probably distracting you while someone else grabs a ring, she said to the room, voice dripping with mockery. The other women laughed, their teeth flashing like diamonds, their phones raised, recording. A young tech heiress named Savannah Holt, known more for her fashion reels than any contribution to the world, zoomed in on Isla's tote and whispered into her phone, bag check alert at Lumiere. Can't make this up. Reggie's voice rose. Please show me your bag again, ma'am. Isla, still calm, opened it, again. The same notebook. The same pen. The same photo, but now, her dignity was under siege. The whispering intensified. One man muttered, I've seen this on YouTube. It's a setup, like, poor girl tricks rich store. Another added, she probably came to get clout. She'll cry on TikTok next. Juliet smirked at Derek, she's got the look. You know. The type. Comes in all humble, then claims we were rude for no reason. Derek grinned, she's playing the sympathy card already. Another phone buzzed. A group chat called Lumiere Circle had just posted a short video, Reggie facing Isla. Captioned, thief in linen. The comments rolled in fast, not even a purse. LMAO. Imagine asking to see a $12 million necklace in flip-flops. Security should have dragged her out. Isla hadn't said a word. But her silence, her calm, her refusal to crumble, it was seen as provocation. Then, Miranda stood, brushing invisible dust off her fur sleeves, and strutted over to where Isla stood near the exit. A tissue in her manicured hand, for your tears. She said loudly, tossing it at Isla's feet with theatrical pity. Gasps and laughter erupted. Derek chuckled. Juliet clapped once, mockingly. Even Reggie allowed a smirk. Miranda's camera was still rolling. A chorus followed her. No diamonds. No diamonds, they chanted in a sing-song tone. No diamonds. No diamonds. Isla didn't bend. She didn't blink. She adjusted the strap of her tote and turned toward the door, but behind her, Vanessa's voice rang out one final time. Come back when you've got a real budget, sweetheart. The glass door slid open. Outside, the breeze tugged at her dress. As she stepped onto the sunlit sidewalk, a fortress of restraint wrapped in linen, the video went live within minutes. Captioned, Rodeo Reject Gets Checked. Within an hour, it had 30,000 views. The top comment read, Total loser. Go back to Walmart. Across Rodeo Drive, at a small cafe with shaded outdoor tables, Isla sat quietly. Her fingers curled around a porcelain cup of espresso. A few feet away, a pair of boutique clients walked past. One whispered, That's her. The woman from the video. Isla looked up briefly. Then back down at her cup. Her eyes were calm. But her heart was a battlefield. In her tote, her phone buzzed again. A name flashed on the screen. Noah, she answered. I saw the video. His voice was low, steady, dangerous. I'm 5 minutes away. The moment Isla hung up the phone, she knew the worst wasn't over. Inside Lumiere Prive, the staff had resumed their posturing, smug in their performance. They'd done more than refuse service. They'd crafted a spectacle. A show for their rich, gloating clients, where she played the role of the unwelcome imposter, but the curtain hadn't dropped yet. From the boutique's back hallway, where a beaded curtain separated staff from guests, Juliet's voice floated out, thin and mocking. "Did you see her tote?" she sneered to Derek, who was now reorganizing a display of diamond bangles. "Bet she's already stuffed a few earrings in there. I mean, it's practically begging to be searched." Derek snorted. She probably thought this was some kind of outlet mall. They weren't whispering anymore. They wanted her to hear it. Across the store, another employee, a young woman named Carla, chuckled as she polished a tray of sapphire rings. Honestly, what was she doing in here? Fishing for a sugar daddy? Their laughter spilled into the hallway, echoing off polished marble and mirrored walls. Isla, already outside, paused mid-step, her hand frozen on the strap of her tote. The words reached her like poison in the breeze. She didn't turn around. She didn't cry, but inside her chest, something began to fracture, and still, the assault didn't stop. In a private Slack channel shared by the boutique staff, someone uploaded a candid photo taken from behind, Isla standing near the necklace display, her tote slung casually at her side. The caption read, "Security risk. Walked in off the street." Claimed she could afford the Celeste skull. That image leaked quickly, screenshots spread across Twitter, Instagram, TikTok. A viral frenzy. Hashtags exploded. Hashtag linen lady, hashtag boutique bum, hashtag thief in sandals. The tone was cruel. The comments, worse. Did she think the necklace came with a coupon? Security needs to do better. That bag's full of five-finger discounts. This is why we need dress codes. Keep the peasants out. By the time Noah's Rolls-Royce turned the corner onto Rodeo Drive, Isla had become a living meme. And she knew it. She felt it in the way the cafe hostess glanced nervously at her before turning away. In the way two teen girls nearby stifled laughter while pretending to film the skyline, lens tilted ever so slightly toward her. A part of her wanted to disappear. Another part, an older, steelier part, wanted them to remember her face. Inside the boutique, Miranda Lowe was still basking in the glow of her petty triumph. She sipped rose from a crystal flute and tossed a freshly uploaded photo to her 1.2 million followers, a blurry shot of Isla's back, her tote visible, the boutique glimmering in the background. Caption, "Know your place, darling." Clinking glasses. Within minutes, it had 80,000 likes. Isla sat motionless in the cafe, her gray eyes fixed on the horizon, her fingers wrapped around the handle of her cup like it was the only thing grounding her to the earth. She didn't need revenge, but what was coming would feel like it. The sound of a deep engine purred into the space between breaths. And the streetside valet nearly dropped a car key as the long, sleek silhouette of a black Rolls-Royce Phantom pulled up before the boutique. All the mockers would remember that moment. They would remember the quiet before the storm. They would remember the man who stepped out. The purr of the Rolls-Royce Phantom silenced the sidewalk. Even the breeze seemed to pause as the driver's door opened. From behind tinted glass emerged Noah Bennett, black suit, no tie, white shirt unbuttoned just at the collar. No gold watch, no bodyguard entourage. Just presence, the kind of presence that bent conversations mid-sentence, made baristas stop frothing milk, made influencers forget their angles. At 42, Noah didn't need to announce himself. He was the room. His jaw was sharp, his green eyes piercing. His dark hair, streaked slightly at the temples, swept back with casual precision. Every movement was quiet and absolute. Inside Lumiere Prive, laughter died in throats. Juliet, mid-eye roll at another joke about the linen thief, turned toward the sound of the boutique's doors gliding open, her breath hitched. Derek's cloth fell from his hand, landing soundlessly on the velvet case. Miranda's champagne flute trembled against her lips. Noah walked in like the store belonged to him. And in a way, it did. Behind him, Isla stepped through the doorway. She hadn't changed a thing. The same linen dress. The same canvas tote. The same unshaken grace, but now, beside her husband, the truth was unmistakable. And unbearable, for those who had mocked her. Noah didn't look left. He didn't look right. He walked straight to the center display where the Celeste glimmered beneath its glass. His voice, when it came, was calm. "Lethal, is the employee who insulted my wife still working here?" The words dropped like a blade. Juliet's spine straightened. She opened her mouth, but nothing came out. Clients stared. One lowered her phone, horrified. Another subtly stepped out of the camera's frame. Derek took a slow step back toward the register. From the rear stairwell, the boutique's owner burst forth, Giovanni Devereaux, a man of fine suits, finer excuses. His pocket square was crooked. His smile, forced. "Mr. Bennett," he stammered, bowing slightly. "There seems to have been a misunderstanding." Noah's eyes pinned him in place. "You let your staff accuse my wife of theft. You let them humiliate her while others filmed it. You let it go viral." Giovanni swallowed. "Sir, save it." Noah turned to Juliet. Her painted lips quivered. Her face, once flushed with smugness, had turned pale under the boutique lights. "You told my wife she didn't belong. That she couldn't afford to see the necklace. He nodded to Isla. She stepped forward, her voice, though soft, was a reckoning. I didn't need anyone here to know who I was, she said, her eyes locking with Giovanni's. I just wanted to be treated like a human being. Silence flooded the room, every eye was on her, every cruel comment, every mocking whisper, unraveled. Noah raised a hand. A woman in a navy blazer stepped forward. His assistant. Tablet in hand, the necklace, Noah said. Now. Juliet's knees nearly gave. Giovanni rushed forward, fumbling with the display's hidden latch. The case opened with a hiss of pressure. He reached inside, his hands trembling, the pink diamond glistened like a fallen star. Noah took it. Turned. Moved behind Isla. Gently, he draped the necklace around her neck. The stones settled against her collarbone like they'd always belonged. There. He stepped back. Now she never has to ask permission, he said. No one moved, the client stared, frozen. The staff? Ashen. Juliet took a half step back, stumbling against a display. Her words were a whisper. Please, I didn't know. Giovanni turned on her, his voice brittle with panic. You're fired. Effective immediately. Juliet gasped. But no one defended her. Not Derek. Not Reggie. They stared at the floor, at the ceiling, anywhere but at Noah. The boutique's air, once smug and perfumed, now reeked of fear. Outside, a single camera flash popped. Inside, history had just been rewritten. The pink diamond necklace rested against Isla's collarbone, shimmering under the boutique's lights like it had always been waiting for her. Noah stepped back, his eyes meeting hers with silent understanding. Around them, Lumiere Prive had turned into a museum of regret, every staff member a statue of stunned disbelief, every onlooker frozen in secondhand shame. Giovanni Devereaux, the owner, tried to reassemble his poise, but his fingers still trembled. Noah's assistant, Lana, held out the tablet again. The transaction was already in progress, $12 million, transferred from a Monroe Ventures trust account. Cleared in seconds, the boutique software beeped, confirming the sale. We're done here, Noah said quietly. His words weren't loud, but they carried the weight of finality. Juliet opened her mouth one last time, voice quivering. Mr. Bennett, I didn't know she was your wife. Isla turned toward her. And if I wasn't, she asked gently, would that have made it okay? The room cracked under the question. No one answered. From behind the counter, Derek took a slow breath. Reggie, the security guard, backed toward the entrance like he wanted to disappear into the street. Giovanni's voice was thin. Please, Mr. Bennett, this is a misunderstanding. We deeply value our clientele. Noah's eyes met his, unflinching. You valued appearance over character. You hired cruelty and called it exclusivity. He turned to Isla. She took his hand, the necklace aglow against her modest dress. Noah addressed Giovanni again. Make no mistake. This will not be forgotten. Not by her. Not by me. And certainly not by the world watching. As if summoned, the doors of Lumiere Prive opened again, this time, not for another client but for the storm already brewing outside. Camera flashes. Phones raised. Reporters inching closer to the glass. The video had hit TikTok while they were still inside. Then Instagram. Then Twitter. The confrontation. The reveal. The necklace. All of it, the caption trending now. She doesn't have to ask anymore. Inside, Giovanni tried to compose himself. Please, Mr. Bennett, we'll do anything to make this right. Noah turned to Lana. She glanced at her watch, nodded, then whispered something into her earpiece. Outside, another luxury SUV pulled up. A second assistant stepped out, speaking rapidly into a phone. Noah didn't respond to Giovanni. He didn't need to. The boutique was already unraveling. Isla adjusted her tote bag and looked around the room. Her eyes passed over Juliet, Derek, Reggie, even Miranda Lowe, who now sat pale and still, her champagne untouched, her social status crumbling like a paper crown in the rain. I didn't come here to prove anything, Isla said. But you all made me proof of something. She didn't raise her voice. She didn't need to. You judged a woman's worth by her shoes, her purse, her dress. And now, all of you know, you were wrong. A young sales assistant, barely 20, stood near the back, tears in her eyes. She hadn't said a word the entire time. But now, she nodded softly, her expression shifting from guilt to awe. Noah reached for Isla's hand. Together, they turned and walked toward the doors. No threats. No shouting. Just quiet, devastating power. And as they stepped onto the sidewalk, her in sandals, him in silence, the press descended. The first question, Mr. Bennett, do you have a comment about how your wife was treated? Noah paused just long enough to answer. You've already seen everything you need to know. And then they disappeared into the waiting phantom, the pink diamond necklace catching the sun one last time before the doors closed. Inside the boutique, the silence remained, but outside, the world was already roaring. By nightfall, the story had devoured the internet. The clip of Isla Bennett standing silently as her tote bag was searched had racked up over 20 million views on TikTok. But it wasn't just the video, it was the moment. The necklace draped around her neck. The husband stepping in like a storm. The quiet words that cut deeper than screams, now she never has to ask permission. That phrase ignited something. It was clipped, quoted, stitched, captioned, hashtag now she doesn't have to trended for 36 straight hours. Influencers reposted the video with shocked commentary. Journalists dissected every second of the footage. Emotional duets filled TikTok feeds with captions like, "I've never felt so seen." To every woman who's ever been told she didn't belong. Isla is every woman who's been underestimated. Meanwhile, Lumiere Privacy world collapsed. A junior employee, disgusted by the incident, leaked the security footage. It showed Juliet's smirk. Derek's mocking glances, Reggie confronting Isla for no reason, Miranda tossing a tissue at Isla's feet. Each frame became evidence. Each share, a dagger in the boutique's once untouchable image. Within hours, Lumiere's Yelp and Google pages were overrun with one-star reviews. Elite trash. They humiliated a billionaire's wife. Imagine how they treat everyone else. No amount of chandeliers can cover cruelty. Juliet Vaughn's name trended next, for all the wrong reasons. Screenshots of her LinkedIn surfaced. So did archived videos of her posing with luxury jewelry while captioning posts, "Exclusivity is elegance." Her modeling contracts began dropping, one by one. Brands scrambled to distance themselves. Her name was added to a growing blacklist titled "The Faces of Retail Discrimination." Derek Ames wasn't spared either. His online history revealed similar incidents, less public, less viral, but equally vile. Clients came forward. Former coworkers. Even interns. Within days, no boutique in Beverly Hills would touch him. Reggie, the security guard, was fired the same night. His union distanced itself. A clip of him saying, "Keep that bag where I can see it," became a meme for corporate racial profiling, but perhaps the hardest fall came from Miranda Lowe. Her influencer empire, built on champagne selfies and designer giveaways, imploded. The video of her tossing the tissue and chanting, "No diamonds," looped across Twitter. Brands revoked contracts. Magazine shoots were cancelled. Her latest sponsored post, an emerald bracelet photo captioned, "Luxury is a mindset," was buried under 130,000 hate comments. You laughed at a woman with more class than your whole existence. Your coat couldn't cover your character. She posted a teary apology video days later, pleading, "I misjudged someone, I made a mistake, but it was too late." 500,000 dislikes, and comments like, "Too late. You bullied her. You laughed while she stood with grace." This isn't an apology, it's damage control. Noah and Isla said nothing. They didn't have to, their silence made the noise louder. Meanwhile, Isla's image, once mocked for its simplicity, became a symbol. Fan art. Quote graphics. Twitter banners. Even a limited edition tote bag design labeled "Linen, not lesser." A viral thread compared her to history's most powerful women who led with calm dignity. A university student tweeted, "If I ever get disrespected, I hope I have 1% of Isla Bennett's poise." By the end of the week, Isla's face was in vogue. Not as a billionaire's wife, but as a movement. And Lumiere Prive? Their Instagram lost over 100,000 followers in 4 days. Their posts were flooded with the comment, "You judged her dress. Now your boutique's undressed." The tides had turned, but for Isla, it was never about revenge. She sipped tea on the patio of her Bel Air bungalow, the city lights glittering below. Her tote sat nearby, the necklace nowhere in sight. Noah appeared. In the doorway, "More fallout?" he asked softly. Isla glanced at her phone. Her smile didn't reach her eyes, just the truth catching up. What began as a moment of cruelty had now become a cultural turning point, but Isla Bennett didn't want fame. She didn't want headlines. What she wanted was change, and she had the means to make it happen. Behind the scenes, Noah's legal team, a unit of elite attorneys who usually negotiated billion-dollar mergers, shifted their focus. Their target, Lumiere Prive. Within 2 weeks, a class action lawsuit was filed. Led by Isla's attorneys, it cited systemic discrimination, public defamation, harassment, and humiliation in a place of public accommodation. The evidence? Video clips from security cameras, public social media posts from staff, leaked Slack messages from employees joking about profiling, testimonies from former staff and clients, some dating back years. One former employee stated, "We were told to prioritize clients based on shoes, handbags, and skin tone. No one said it outright. But we all knew." The lawsuit named Juliet Vaughn, Derek Ames, Reggie, and Giovanni Devereaux individually. Their reputations collapsed under the scrutiny. Juliet's fashion blog? Taken offline. Her brand deals? Cancelled. She attempted to rebrand under a new name. But the internet never forgets. Derek attempted to transfer to another luxury retailer. The moment the HR department saw his name trending under hashtag retail discrimination, the offer was rescinded. Giovanni was hit hardest. The boutique chain's investors, once dazzled by Lumiere's exclusivity, pulled out. Major luxury houses canceled partnerships. The store's flagship location in Beverly Hills lost 74% of reservations within a month. He issued a public apology on video, standing stiffly in front of a velvet curtain. "We deeply regret the mistreatment of Ms. Bennett," but the comment section drowned him. "You regret getting caught." Apology after a lawsuit isn't remorse, it's fear. Isla didn't sue for money. She sued for justice. The court awarded a multi-million-dollar settlement, but Isla and Noah declined any personal payout. Instead, they announced something greater. At a press event held on a crisp fall morning in a modest auditorium downtown, Isla stood behind a podium. No makeup, no stylist, no entourage. Just her canvas tote on the floor beside her and Noah quietly seated in the front row. She wore a simple navy dress, no necklace in sight. Her voice was clear. "Today, we are launching the Lumiere Fund," seated with $12 million, the original value of the necklace. "This fund will support women who've been discriminated against in elite spaces, judged for their appearance, background, or silence." The crowd rose in applause. News cameras flashed. Hashtags exploded again. Hashtag Lumiere Fund, hashtag Justice with Grace, hashtag Because of Isla. She continued, "We'll provide legal support, leadership training, and research grants to combat classism and elitism in luxury industries. This is just the beginning." The announcement trended globally. Major celebrities publicly endorsed the fund. Harvard's law school reached out to collaborate. A-list designers offered to donate to the cause. Within 6 months, the Lumiere Fund had trained over 500 women in leadership and professional development, funded legal aid for dozens of workplace harassment cases, partnered with universities to study racial and class bias in retail spaces. Noah remained in the background. It was Isla's mission now. Her tote became iconic. Fashion bloggers called it the bag that brought down a boutique. A luxury museum in New York asked to display it, next to the pink diamond necklace, now loaned permanently as a symbol of resilience over riches. Letters poured in. Women from around the world wrote to Isla, some anonymous, some signed with trembling hands, sharing stories of being underestimated, ignored, mocked. She read each one, responded to dozens, organized forums, mentorship programs, and fundraisers. At one such event, a 23-year-old woman approached Isla, eyes glistening. "I left my job because of your story. They treated me like nothing. But seeing you gave me the courage to walk out with my head up." Isla hugged her. Her eyes didn't tear, but her heart did. This wasn't revenge. It was restoration. And Lumiere Prive, their flagship store, shuttered in disgrace. The chandeliers dimmed. The velvet cases empty. The marble floor silent. Giovanni quietly retired. Juliet applied for entry-level PR roles. Derek began working at a pop-up watch stall in a suburban mall. Miranda tried to launch a new influencer account, under a different name. It was flagged within hours. The system they thrived in had judged Isla's linen dress. Now that system had crumbled. 6 months after the world watched Isla Bennett walk out of Lumiere Prive in silence, the boutique was no more. The grand storefront on Rodeo Drive now stood vacant. Chandeliers once gleaming, now dulled by dust. Its glass display, once home to rare jewels, reflected nothing but the empty sidewalk. The store's closure was quiet. There was no press release, no farewell post. Just an absence of opulence, of cruelty, of the hierarchy that had once guarded its door like a dragon hoarding treasure. In its place, something greater had been built, not in brick or marble, but in people. The Lumiere Fund, seated by the $12 million Noah used to buy the necklace, had now reached across borders. It funded legal aid in 5 countries. It launched university partnerships in 3. It trained over 1,000 women, hosted seminars, and influenced hiring practices in luxury fashion houses around the world. The necklace itself, the infamous Celeste, now rested behind bulletproof glass at the National Museum of Women's Resilience in D.C. A small plaque beside it read, "Worn not for wealth, but for worth. A gift turned into justice." And across from the display, encased beside a printed letter from Isla to the fund's first class of scholarship recipients, sat her linen dress, the real one. Not a designer replica. Not a curated symbol, just a simple, honest garment, folded neatly beside her worn canvas tote. At home in Bel Air, Isla still lived quietly. No staff, no mansion halls. She and Noah celebrated their anniversary in their backyard garden, where string lights swayed gently above the stone path. The smell of rosemary and orange blossoms filled the air. Noah, dressed in a crisp white shirt with the sleeves rolled up, poured 2 glasses of champagne. Isla smiled, barefoot on the grass, her linen dress once again her armor, light, humble, strong, they danced. Just the two of them. Under the stars, the necklace wasn't there. It didn't need to be, their wealth was vast, but their love, rooted in shared storms and silent victories, was vaster still. Across the country, a young girl named Maya opened a letter from the Lumiere Fund. It contained her full scholarship to study design in New York. She held it close and whispered, "Thank you, Mrs. Bennett." Though she had never met her elsewhere, a luxury brand unveiled its new hiring protocol, written in part by consultants trained through Isla's fund and in a cafe in Paris. A boutique manager stopped a junior associate from dismissing a plainly dressed woman. "We serve clients," she said. "Not costumes." The ripple had reached the shore, and through it all, Isla never once returned to Lumiere Prive. She didn't need to, because she had built something better, not out of vengeance, but from the quiet fire of knowing who she was, and refusing to let the world decide otherwise. The world knew her now. Not as the billionaire's wife, but as the woman who turned humiliation into hope. Isla Bennett didn't need diamonds. She was the light.